Our protagonist wakes up to find himself in the body of an absolute failure of a noble, Liam. The moment he realizes he's now stuck in a child's body, he completely loses it. His father, unimpressed by his outburst, scolds him for causing such a commotion. However, since he's in a rare good mood today, he simply tells Liam to sit down and try his best not to be a walking disappointment. Liam still can't wrap his head around what's happening, convinced this has to be some kind of dream he'll wake up from eventually. Before he can dwell on it too much, his personal maid enters the room to help him get dressed. Seizing the opportunity, Liam asks her a few questions and quickly learns that he's the fifth son of a count. As for the party yesterday, it was held to celebrate the birth of his brand new baby sister. Later that day, Liam strikes up a conversation with his older brother, Bruno, hoping to gather more intel on his current life situation. Through their chat, he discovers that Bruno is the fourth son of the Hamilton noble family, a lineage teetering on the brink of losing its noble status. Apparently, there's a rule in place to keep noble families from turning into entitled, self-important brats. It states that every noble lineage must achieve some kind of significant accomplishment within 3 generations. If they fail, they lose their noble standing and get demoted to commoner status. Unfortunately for the Hamilton family, they're now on their 3rd generation without a single noteworthy achievement to their name. This is why their father and the eldest son, Albrecht, are desperate to contribute something meaningful to society before it's too late. Bruno, on the other hand, couldn't care less about the whole thing. He's just a laid-back guy who's fully prepared to roll with whatever happens. Liam is taken aback by how chill Bruno is about potentially losing his noble status, but to be fair, he can't bring himself to care all that much either. He literally just arrived in this world yesterday, so it's not like he has any grand plans for his future yet. Right as he's pondering what to do, their lesson teacher shows up and announces that magic lectures will be starting soon. The moment Liam hears the word magic, he practically launches himself out of his chair, excitedly asking if he really gets to learn how to use it. Bruno, caught off guard by Liam's sudden enthusiasm, casually mentions that there are a bunch of grimoires stored in the family library, so if Liam wants to check them out, he's free to do so. That said, Bruno warns him not to get too excited. Most people don't have a natural talent for magic. Even so, the magic instructor encourages Liam to study it anyway, explaining that even if he can't cast spells, having a solid understanding of magic is still valuable. Taking that advice to heart, Liam tracks down his maid and asks her to show him where the grimoires are kept. She leads him to the mansion study, and Liam is blown away by the sheer amount of knowledge packed into this place. As he scans the shelves, he spots a book on basic fire magic and immediately grabs it. Following the instructions inside, Liam attempts his first spell, and to his amazement, he successfully conjures a small flame on the tip of his finger. Pulling that off on his first try is honestly pretty impressive. Excited, he rushes to his father's office to ask for permission to use the grimoire library. But since his father can't stand talking to him, he just waves Liam off and tells him he can do whatever he wants. That interaction was kind of a downer, but at the end of the day, what really matters is that Liam got the green light to use the grimoire library. So for the next few days, he throws himself into studying and mastering all the basic elemental spells. Eventually, he reaches the point where he can cast them from memory without even glancing at the grimoire, which is honestly pretty impressive. Bruno, who can't use magic at all, is completely floored by Liam's progress. He tells Liam that at this rate, he's definitely going to make a name for himself. That said, Bruno can't help but be a little suspicious of Liam's sudden dedication and asks if he's working this hard because he wants to be the next head of the family. If that's the case, he might end up in the crosshairs of their eldest brother. But Liam just shrugs. He couldn't care less about family politics. He's not aiming for power. He just thinks magic is awesome. Having mastered all the beginner spells, Liam decides it's time to move on to ice magic. But just as he's leaving the library, his father unexpectedly calls for him. His father, who couldn't have cared less about Liam just a few days ago, is suddenly all over him after hearing about his magic talent. Now that Liam might actually be useful, the Count demands a demonstration. Liam obliges, casting magic effortlessly without even cracking open a grimoire. The Count is overjoyed. He might have just found the key to securing their family's noble status. From this point forward, Liam has free access to any resources he needs for his magic studies. Just then, a report comes in about a certain man trespassing on Hamilton land. The Count immediately orders the soldiers to mobilize and capture him. From how urgent it sounds, this guy must be a major threat, but that has nothing to do with Liam, so he heads out into the forest to practice his magic. While wandering through the woods, he stumbles upon a man sitting under a tree. The guy tenses up the moment he sees Liam and immediately asks if he's a Hamilton sent to capture him. Liam confirms that he is from the Hamilton family, but adds that he has zero interest in capturing anyone. He doesn't even know who this guy is. The man visibly relaxes, relieved that Liam isn't out for his head. However, when he spots the grimoire in Liam's hands, his curiosity peaks. He asks if Liam is studying magic, and Liam confirms it, explaining that constant practice is the best way to improve. Just as Liam is about to leave, the man stops him and asks if he wants to learn a more efficient way to use magic. That immediately grabs Liam's attention, so he presses for details. The man then demonstrates a technique that allows him to wield 5 different types of magic at once. Liam is blown away. The man offers Liam a quick magic lesson, and Liam eagerly accepts. For Liam's first lesson, the man gives him a simple task: draw 2 diagrams on the ground at the same time. Liam follows the instructions and does surprisingly well, so the next step shouldn't be too difficult for him. Now, the man challenges him to use 2 different spells at once. Liam decides to go with a flame cutter in his right hand and a fireball in his left. He focuses, visualizes the spells, and manages to cast them simultaneously on his first attempt. The man is absolutely stunned. It's incredibly rare for someone to pull off this technique, let alone on their first try. Encouraged, he pushes Liam further, telling him to attempt 3 spells at once. Liam gives it a shot, and at first, everything seems to be going well. But just as he's about to pull it off, his magic suddenly fizzles out. Disappointed, Liam assumes he messed up. However, the man reassures him that he actually executed the technique correctly. The only reason the spells failed is that his body doesn't yet have enough magic power to sustain them. Multicasting burns through an insane amount of energy, so Liam just needs to work on controlling his magic better before he can maintain it properly. For now, the man shifts gears and decides to teach Liam a bit about the theory behind the technique. He asks Liam to sit down while he draws something in the dirt. What he sketches out are prime numbers, and he explains that the entire multi-spell casting method is based on them. The man admits that he has no idea why magic works this way, but the rule is simple. You can cast 1, 2, or even 3 spells at the same time, but the moment you try to cast 4, it just won't work. Right now, his personal limit is 13 simultaneous spells, which is absolutely insane. However, in theory, he has enough magic power to handle up to 16. The problem? Because of the prime number rule, he can't push past 13 until his magic capacity is high enough to support 17 spells. Liam, being only 12 years old, has a long way to go, but the man is confident that with a proper training routine, Liam's magic power will skyrocket. To help him with that, he gives Liam a special ring. This ring functions like a massive grimoire, storing all sorts of spells that Liam can access at any time. Excited, Liam slips the ring on, and instantly, over 300 spells flood into his mind. He's overwhelmed but thrilled. He can't wait to try them out. Without hesitation, he turns towards the woods and activates Wind Shot, unleashing a powerful gust of wind. The spell works flawlessly, and Liam is ecstatic. He turns back to the man to thank him, but the guy is nowhere to be seen. Just then, Liam's mate arrives, scolding him for wandering around the woods alone. Apparently, there's a suspicious man on the loose, so she warns him to be careful about talking to strangers. But that aside, she's actually here to deliver something. His father wants him to have a specific grimoire. She hands over the book and heads back to the mansion. The moment she leaves, the man suddenly reappears behind Liam. Confused, Liam asks where he disappeared to just a second ago. The man explains that he never actually left. He was just using invisibility magic to stay hidden, since he absolutely cannot be caught here. That aside, he finds the grimoire Liam just received pretty interesting, so he offers to show Liam a neat little trick. He instructs Liam to open the book and try summoning a spirit while still wearing the ring. Curious, Liam does as he's told and summons a fire spirit, only for it to be instantly absorbed into the ring. Intrigued, he repeats the process with all the other elemental spirits, storing them for later use. By the time he's finished, he turns around to speak to the man again, but this time, he's truly gone. And Liam knows he won't be coming back. Before leaving, the man scribbled a message in the dirt. Keep training your magic, and you'll surely become a great mage. Oh, and by the way, don't snitch. I was never here. Liam doesn't know much about this mysterious teacher, but there's no denying that he learned more in a single afternoon than he ever could have on his own. From this day forward, he will always respect him as his master. A month passes, and Liam remains dedicated to his training. His magical abilities have grown significantly, and his control is sharper than ever. One day, Bruno comes across Liam and is stunned to see that he has managed to produce white charcoal on his own. Unlike regular charcoal, white charcoal burns at a much higher temperature, produces no smoke, and is incredibly useful for alchemy and metallurgy. However, making it requires a specialized furnace and extreme precision. Yet Liam somehow created a whole pile of it using only magic. Bruno then spots a bag full of lecro crystals, which are rare crystals that restore spent magic power. He asks if Liam made those too, and Liam confirms it. Though it took some trial and error, he eventually mastered the technique, which requires casting 5 different types of magic at the same time. Seeing how talented Liam is, Bruno feels reassured that his little brother will be just fine on his own. He then drops a bombshell. He's getting married soon and won't be around anymore. Liam, caught completely off guard, asks why he's only hearing about this now. Bruno explains that he's marrying into a low-ranking noble family. They have less money than the Hamiltons, but he'll have more freedom there, which suits him just fine. Liam isn't sure how to feel about this, but he congratulates Bruno regardless. Before parting ways, Bruno gives Liam a piece of advice. He reveals that their father had always wanted a daughter, hoping to marry her off to the royal family to secure the Hamilton status. However, when Liam was born as a boy, their father immediately deemed him a failure and decided to try again for a daughter. In the meantime, their father grew increasingly desperate about the Hamilton family's declining status. In a last-ditch effort to secure an achievement, he deployed a 1,000-man force to slay a legendary monster that had been sealed away deep in the forest. The mission was an unmitigated disaster. More than 90% of the soldiers perished, and the creature remained undefeated. However, Bruno thinks the Hamilton family is cooked beyond saving and advises Liam to start considering ways to live independently. Taking Bruno's advice to heart, Liam begins selling his white charcoal to earn his own money. Since it's a valuable resource, it fetches a decent price. But he quickly realizes that if he wants to be truly self-sufficient, he'll need a more profitable product. While wandering through town, Liam decides to take a break at a noodle shop and orders a bowl of ramen. The moment he takes a bite, he's blown away by the taste. Judging by the crowd, he isn't the only one who loves it. However, all the noodles in town are made fresh daily, and since they don't last long, preparing them is a constant hassle. This gives Liam an idea for a game-changing invention. After some careful experimentation, Liam heads to the kitchen, where his maid and the head chef are preparing dinner. He presents them with a strange, compact block of noodles and instructs them to pour hot water over it. The moment they do, the block transforms into a steaming, flavorful bowl of ramen. Liam explains that he used his elemental spirits to cook and dehydrate the noodles, allowing them to last far longer while remaining quick and easy to prepare. Convinced that this innovation will take the market by storm, he excitedly rushes to the merchant guild to strike a deal. Unfortunately, he's met with instant rejection. The merchant informs him that, as the fifth son of the Hamilton family, he legally cannot sell original products without written permission from either his father or eldest brother. Liam immediately knows that getting permission is out of the question, especially without handing over all potential profits in the process. Sure enough, when he returns home, he learns that Albrevet himself was the one who instructed the merchant guild to block Liam's request. His arrogant older brother can't stand the idea that his insignificant younger sibling is proving to be more competent and successful than him. However, while Liam remains oblivious to his brother's grudge, he's dead set on selling his products. If playing by the rules won't work, then he'll just have to bend them a little. His first step is to load a large stockpile of his products into an item box, a storage space he created using the ring from his mysterious teacher. Once that's done, he moves on to the real game changer, casting summoning magic. But this time, instead of calling forth a spirit, Liam attempts to summon himself. At first, it seems like a simple teleportation spell, but what actually happens shocks him. Instead of transporting his body, the spell creates a perfect clone of himself. Not only does this mean Liam can be in two places at once, but he can now send his duplicate to a neighboring land where the Hamilton family's rules don't apply. If he isn't allowed to sell his products here, then he'll just sell them somewhere else. Liam's clone begins making sales and regularly updates him with reports on his growing profits. At this rate, he might actually be able to achieve true independence. When he isn't busy selling, Liam uses his clone for combat training, and after relentless practice, he finally manages to perfect his control over the magic missile spell. He's pretty pleased with himself until he suddenly senses movement nearby. Realizing someone is approaching, he immediately dispels his clone and turns to see who it is. To his surprise and irritation, it's Albrevet. Albrevet wastes no time on pleasantries and gets straight to the point. He wants to know what Liam's future plans are. Liam knows exactly why he's asking. Albrevet is trying to gauge whether or not Liam is a threat to his position as heir to the Hamilton family. But Liam has zero interest in the family's internal power struggles, so he truthfully tells Albrevet that his goal is to become independent. Hearing this, Albrevet visibly relaxes. Albrevet even offers to put in a good word for him, so he can join the Hunters Guild. Later that day, Liam makes his way to the Hunters Guild, but the moment he steps inside, every pair of eyes locks onto him. The seasoned hunters size him up in an instant, and it's clear from their expressions that they think a kid like him has no business being here.